Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 Bitcoin pod. In today's show, I'll be sharing the latest technical analysis as the BTC price actions currently correcting and in the red. Also, big breaking news: Trump media finally closed their $2.32 billion raise to create a Bitcoin treasury. Let's freaking go. Also, Brazilian public company Meluiz files to raise $26.4 million to buy some Bitcoin. Also, Michael Saylor posted the Bank of England is on the brink of buying Bitcoin. Let's freaking go. Also, Tether to invest billions into Bitcoin mining with ambition to become the biggest Bitcoin miner in the world, according to their CEO. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin ETFs have first joint outflow in 2 weeks, but BlackRock bucks the trend. And speaking of bucking the trend, buck the Fed while we're at it. Silk Road's Ross Albbrick gave a speech at the Vegas conference and says, "You didn't abandon me." I'll give you some of the highlights from his speech. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin bull market. Great validator comes as James Nguyen loses 100 million, one of the most historic liquidations in history of crypto. We'll also be discussing NYC cops linked to the crypto torture case put on modified duties. That's right, some crooked copsters shaking down some crypto folk. Unacceptable, coppers. We'll also be discussing Panama City mayor says the canal should give Bitcoin paying ships faster access. That's right. The highlight of the Vegas event was Max and Stacy on stage with the mayor discussing the Bitcoin strategic reserve. 2.2 million in play. I'll give you all the highlights, all the updates, everything you need to know. All this plus so much more in today's podcast. If you're new to the channel, it's very important. Smash the likes. Go ahead, subscribe, then ring the bell. Turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, 7 days a week, just like this. Today is episode 2007. I'm your host, JV. As we're approaching the end of the month, it's May 30th. The Vegas conference is officially over. And during today's live stream, I'll be sharing my favorite epic moments, mic drop moments, and highlights from the event, as well as the latest from the high priest, mayor of Panama City, strategic Bitcoin reserve, Trump, 2.3+ billion raise, about to buy some There's just so much bullishness in the markets right now. So yeah, I'm your host, JV. I will be preaching the holy gospel of Satoshi for the next couple of hours, so you know what to do. Let's kick it off with our market watch, as we do each and every day. I'm going to pull up Coin 360, then we'll do some TA, and then we'll get through some of the headlines and what's happened. Crack-a-lacking in the market. As you can see, Bitcoin, Ether, XRP, all the major cryptos currently correcting. And in the red, Bitcoin maintaining 1046 at the time of the live stream. Checking out coinmarketcap.com. The current crypto market cap sits currently at 3.29 trillion. We have roughly 149 billion worth of volume, 145 in the past 24 hours, down 8% on the day. And the Bitcoin dominance, which will come in here in a sec, is 63.1%, back on the rise. Ether dominance, 9.4%. And the Bitcoin market cap today is $2.076 trillion. And checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours, we got Kronos up 7%, followed by Hyperliquid up 5%, followed by Dexy up 3%, and then virtually the rest of the market correcting and in the red. As you can see here on the crypto bubbles for the daily, I'd say like 95% of the market, blood red, unfortunately. Zooming out for the weekly, very similar scenario. And zooming out for the monthly, hey now, maybe 50-50, green over red. And checking out the infamous Crypto Greed and Fear Index. Today, we're down to a 60. Yesterday, we sparked a 74. Last week, we hit a high back in extreme greed of 78. And the ironic part is typically the higher that number goes, more likely of a pullback. And though it's a very modest pullback, we did pull back some in the past couple of days. And the last month, we were all the way down to a 56 in greed. And checking out the time chain calendar. We're currently on block number 150,000, or we have 150,000 blocks until the next halving. We're on block number 899,000, soon to hit 900,000, potentially tomorrow. Virtually, it's coming around the corner. And as of today, you can exchange one fiat monopoly dollar for 957 sats. So you know what to do. Pick up the sats, put down the gas, and pick up some Bitcoin caps from my man Sergio over at bitcoincaps.net. So yeah, I'm going to read you some of this analysis, and then we'll look at some of the live charts as we always do. You should be able to see on your screen popping up here. Headline reads, Bitcoin eyes a healthy pause around 106 before the price picks up steam. That's right. We're running low on the steam. But anyways, check this out. Forster, the analyst, argued consolidation phase could be a healthy pause before another significant upwards movement. He said the pause will give the market time to digest these recent gains and gear up for the next phase. Bitcoin's up 11.5% over the past 30 days, reaching a new all-time high of roughly 112 on the Coinbase exchange, which was last week, May 22nd, before pulling back to around 105 at the time of the live. And we're currently correcting, obviously. What the next phase may be is uncertain. Bitcoin researcher Smithson said Bitcoin could gain 200% with a cycle peak between 220 and 330. Meanwhile, another analyst said a more reasonable target for this year would be 220. My bear scenario is 222, same as facts. Base case, 420 for the broskies. Am I based? Absolutely. And then, of course, 1.1 million bull scenario. And Max Keiser is calling for 2.2 million, making my bull target look like child's play. Just saying. But the analyst said the U.S. Court of International Trade's May 28 decision to block Trump's sweeping tariffs has exceeded his authority, means that the immediate concern of trade-induced inflation has been alleviated. The Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit ruled on May 29th that Trump could temporarily continue his tariff regime under an emergency powers law while he appeals the trade court's decision. And they added that the U.S. Federal Reserve's next interest rate decision will be June 18th, but it will be pivotal. Now, they also said while the third quarter has historically been a weaker period for the Bitcoin, it may be a different scenario for this year, unprecedented time. The potential for favorable regulatory development and continued institutional interest may support stronger performance here in Q3. And since 2013, Bitcoin has been averaging a 6% gain in third quarters, while fourth quarter has historically been its strongest yet, delivering an average return of 85.4%. Not too shabby. They also pointed out significant amount of the spot Bitcoin ETF inflows, which we'll dive deeper into later on. Now, this phenomenon can be attributed to the near or the nature of these ETF investments, which often involve institutional investors seeking exposure without immediate impact on the spot price markets. Now I want to share some of the significant headlines on crypto Twitter trending right now, and then we'll pull up some of the live charts. Breaking news, Trump Media has officially closed their $2.32 billion raise to create their Bitcoin treasury. Bitcoin for the treasury, game on. And this is going to spark the continued game theory all throughout the flat plane across the world. And you already know now Panama's talking about Bitcoin strategic reserve. Pakistan just announced a Bitcoin strategic reserve. And yeah, it's playing out just like we've been talking about. Now also Brazilian public company Meliuiz. I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation as I don't speak Portuguese, but nonetheless, they just raised $26 million to buy more Bitcoin as the Bitcoin treasury continues. And the adoption of Bitcoin by the nation states is inevitable. It will move us up above 1 million per coin, and it will happen before 2030. Can I get an amen? Michael Saylor posted this earlier on his wall. Bank of England is on the brink of buying Bitcoin. It was inevitable from day one, and you already know how bad they've been fudding Bitcoin, so this is just another great sign of the times. Everyone's going to have to adopt it or get left behind. Also, Tether to invest billions into the Bitcoin mining with ambitions to become the biggest miner of the world. And of course, the Trump family has the same ambition to become the biggest Bitcoin miner in the world with American Miner or whatever. So this is, again, game theory for Bitcoin mining, game theory for the Bitcoin treasury companies. It's all playing out. Now, also, 97% of Saylor's Bitcoin has officially been identified. As Arkham Intelligence wrote, we've identified even more of Saylor's stash, 97% of all the holdings, which is bringing our coverage of Saylor's holdings to 59 billion. Because obviously, at the conference, they asked him, are you going to share proof of reserves? He said, no, it's a bad idea. It's a security risk. Well, guess what? Arkham is getting the job done, so you don't need Saylor to disclose it because it's all public knowledge and they know how to do that. Also, Jack Mallers revealed that his company, 21, his Bitcoin treasury company, they will be sharing the proof of reserves, unlike Michael Saylor. So let me know some of your thoughts with that. And next up, we're going to pull up some of the live charts, and then we'll go back to some of the chat and the headlines and all that good stuff. But you should be able to see live and on your screen here in one moment via TradingView, via Coinbase. There we go. This is the 1 hour chart. We got the bull target back on screen, sitting pretty. No Diddy at 116.3, bullish pennant formation. Probably going to have a very similar target on the 4 hour. Let's check her out. 4 hour chart. Again, this is live and in the flesh. Live chart action. Jackson, Bo Jackson, Tony Braxton. And we also have that 116 target here on the 4 hour. Bullish pennant in play. You got to dig it. Zooming out from there, we'll take a look at the 1 day. The 1 day chart, obviously, we've had a correction. This is the 4th day in a row, actually, ironic enough. Pretty much since the conference started, we started to pull back some, which is pretty typical. We did the same thing past couple of years, but even worse during the conferences. So it maintained day one, and then it started slipping the following day, I believe, which was Wednesday. But as you can see here on the daily chart, there are some super bear scenarios on the screen. I'm not even going to reference out loud because it's irrelevant in my humble opinion, as I believe we're in the next phase of the leg up. But you guys let me know your thoughts. And taking a quick look at the weekly, we have the rising wedgie and 124,000 cup and handle target, which has been on this chart now for like the past 6 months, I dare say. And we also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green consecutive weekly candle closes. We've never had 8 in the history of Bitcoin, which means 8 consecutive green candle closes for the weekly. Things are looking like it's going to close in the red here as we got 2 days to go till Sunday, but you just never know. Anything can happen. Bitcoin has no top, fiat has no bottom, but you let me know your thoughts. And taking a quick glance, JD Vance glance of the 1 month. You can also see April bullish, and this month of May is definitely going to close in the green as we get to the next month here. And the bullish momentum continues, but you let me know where you feel the pretty low biddy is likely to take us next. Bitcoin ETFs have first joint outflow in 2 weeks, but BlackRock bucks the trend. And while we're bucking the trend, let's buck the Fed, let's buck the banks, let's buck them all, baby, baby. That's right. The 11 Bitcoin ETFs recorded a net outflow of 347 million on May 29th, ending a 10 trading day inflow streak. That's right, which last happened May 13th. And it is also the largest single day of the net outflow since March 11th, when 396 million in total left these pretty little ETFs. The latest outflow came as Bitcoin sank more than 3% on the day. Holy moly. Falling from the intraday high of 108 to touching 105. End of the world. FBTC had the largest net outflow for the day, shedding 166 mil, followed by the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which saw 107 million outflow. Bitwise, ARC21, Invesco, and Franklin Templeton, and the VanEck ETF also saw the outflows, and also funds from CoinShares, WisdomTree, and Grayscale's Mini Bitcoin Trust recorded no flows. Now, BlackRock's IBIT bucked the trend with a net inflow of 125 million, which brought its consecutive trading day inflow streak to 34 days, with the product lasting in an outflow. April 9th, BlackRock's ETF has now seen just shy of $4 billion worth of the inflows over the past 2 weeks, with the total inflow figure reaching $49 billion and assets under management exceeding $70 billion. Over the past 5 weeks, more than $9 billion entered the spot Bitcoin ETFs, while nearly $3 billion outflowed from the gold ETFs, observed from the ETF store president, Nate Gerasi. Meanwhile, the Ether ETFs also bucked the outflow trend with a net inflow of $92 million on May 29th, and this brings the inflow streak to 10 consecutive trading days without an outflow, which we haven't seen since May 15, 2 weeks ago. We also have the BlackRock iShares Ethereum Trust saw the lion's share of those inflows. Naturally, BlackRock leading, the charge with just over 50 million, bringing its total to 4.5 billion of inflows since the product launch in July of 2024. And commenting on the recent SEC clarification on staking not being a securities-related activity, Gerasi said it was just another hurdle cleared for staking and spot Ether ETFs. And the Ether market cap has been back on the rise, which probably explains the inflows back on the rise as well. But happy Friday. We're going to continue with the news. Here's the latest from Ross Albbrick, who was falsely imprisoned for fucking 11 or 12 years, serving allegedly 2 life sentences. I don't know how that's physically possible, obviously, but apparently they gave him a sentence for the afterlife, as crazy as that sounds. And then he got pardoned by Trump thank God, and this is his first time speaking since his false imprisonment, and he spoke at that conference. So here's some of the highlights. You should be able to see on your screen. Silk Road's Ross Albbrick at Bitcoin 2025. You didn't abandon me. And I would dare say probably one of the most touching moments from the event. Let me know if you saw the speech. Ross, founder of Silk Road, gave a fiery speech at Bitcoin 2025, months after being granted a pardon. Albbrick, who had been sentenced to 2 life terms, plus 40, as if 2 life terms aren't enough. You get 2 life terms plus 40 years in prison for his role in creating Silk Road, which was overwhelmed by the changes in the world, Bitcoin, and technology that had occurred during his imprisonment. Now, just a few months ago, he says, I was trapped behind those prison walls, not fucking knowing if I'd ever get out. He also shared with a deeply emotional audience, now I'm free, and it is because of you, the Bitcoin community. And that is so motherfucking true. If it wasn't for us demanding that he get pardoned, do you think Trump would have did anything? No, because they're going to only do what we want them to do because they work for us. There's the power in the people, and we the people have the power. And that's just a great example of what we can do when we unite. So shout out to all the Bitcoiners for supporting Ross. I think it's fantastic personally. He took a moment to thank the very community that supported him throughout the time in prison. He said, you didn't abandon me. You didn't forget about me. You wrote me letters. You raised money for my defense. And when I was silenced, you spoke up against the slander and smears. And visibly, he was choked up, as you would imagine. Albbrick referred to his pardon as a miracle, amen, noting the overwhelming changes in the world since his incarceration. He had become in prison since 2013. Jesus. And by the time he was released in early 2025, the world undergone a significant transformation. You say that again. With new technologies like virtual reality, drones, AI, etc., comparing his experience to Rip Van Winkle's. I went into a time capsule in 2013. That's right. Albbrick added that the freedom, the tech, and the fact he had a future again are all hitting him all at once. His release came after years of campaigning, and all the credit goes to his lovely mother, Lynn Albbrick, who had spearheaded the Free Ross movement, never gave up on her son, including the Change.org petition, which had over 600,000 signatures. January 21st of this year, Trump approved the pardon of Albbrick, allowing his freedom following years of lobbying by his supporters. And I got to give Trump credit. He stuck to his word. He said he would pardon him, and he did. Trump pledged to liberate Albbrick during his presidential campaign, and stuck to his word. Albbrick remarked Trump's recognition of an injustice was necessary. I am thankful we elected him. Do you think Kamala would have pardoned him? Oh, hell no. It's because of the Biden administration. There's the war on crypto to begin with. He is the man who does what he says, he said, and he freed me. And he did. He's a man of integrity. And despite his harrowing years behind bars, Ross used his platform to deliver a message of unity and the importance of staying true to the movement's core principles, which he defined as freedom, decentralization, and unity. He raised the issue of solidarity amongst the broader crypto community, urging Bitcoiners remain united despite differences. And in his closing remarks, he reiterated the importance of maintaining the values that had not only carried him through his prison sentence, but have also fueled the entire Bitcoin movement. And there you have it. Let me know if you got a chance to watch it. If you missed it, of course, you can always check the show notes below the video in the description, always in the Rumble and on the Tube. I reference where the articles were from. And Bitcoin Magazine had coverage of the entire event, all the speakers. So if you like a particular speaker or gravitate towards them and you want to watch that, those are all available on YouTube and on X, etc. Be sure to check them out. And shout out Ross. I'm happy to hear you're free, man. God bless you and your mother. Respect. NYC cops linked to crypto torture case. That's right. New York Police Department reportedly placed 2 officers on modified duties. Why aren't they fired and in jail? After the pair accused of being linked to the local townhouse where the crypto trader was allegedly kidnapped and tortured before escaping. The silver lining, he escaped. He's not dead. That's good. NYPD detective who serves in New York City Mayor Eric Adams security detail, his name is Detective Roberto Cordero, said it had picked up the alleged victim, Michael Valentino, from the airport, driven him to the townhome. New York Times reported, citing 2 officials with knowledge of the matter. The Times reported that Cordero, and NYPD detective Raymond Lowe, investigates narcotic cases in Manhattan, also provided security at the Soho townhouse where Katorin claimed he escaped from. Both were placed on modified duties while an investigation is currently being carried out. ABC reported that one of the detectives was working off duty when he alleged he drove Katorin to the townhome while the other was paid by one of the suspects to provide security services. Quoting them here from ABC, "We are disturbed by these allegations, and as soon as it came to our attention, the officers were placed on modified duty." Now, whatever that means, should they not be arrested? And, you know what I mean? I don't know why they would just be on modified duty, but I guess it's all allegations at this point. John Waltz and William Duplessis have been charged with kidnapping and torturing Katorin, who escaped from the 5-story Manhattan townhome last week. Ironic, the day we hit the all-time high, May 22nd, when we hit 112, the day he alleged he was told it would be his death day. The pair is accused of holding Katorin captive for 17 days. Holy shit. Imagine being tortured for 17 days as part of the attempt to pressure him into revealing his crypto wallet phrase. Jeez. NBC New York reported May 26th that he had an estimated net worth of $30 million. Waltz is known for some as the crypto king of Kentucky, while Duplessis is a Swiss national and a co-founder of the crypto-focused venture firm Pangea blockchain fund. Police allege Katorin was tied up with electrical cords and electrocuted. His feet was also tased while submerged in water. They're pulling out all the tricks. And an electric chainsaw. This reminds me of the movie Scarface. What are we dealing with, Tony Montana? I'm a political refugee from Cuba, man. I have no crypto, man, with the threat that it would be cut off. The grand jury also indicted Waltz May 29th, and the judge denied his bail. Good. Waltz's attorney, Wayne Gosnell, unsuccessfully argued for his client's release with a $2 million bond. I say if you're one of these so-called corrupt cops, you should not get bailed out whatsoever. So if that's who they're referring to here, Duplessis is awaiting his indictment. Cordero is a only 20-year-old. And how the fuck are you an NYPD veteran at age 20? Oh, 20-year veteran. My bad. I'm like, age 20, he's a veteran. I'm like, how does that make sense? But yeah, 20 years, maybe on the take for all we know. Has been the subject of 4 civilian complaints. So this is not the first time, including 2 for abuse of authority. Damn. And one of those led to disciplinary action in January of 2009, so that was quite a bit back. He was also accused of using excessive physical force November of 2014, but the investigation stalled after the complaint stopped cooperating. So he has a track record of some very questionable action. But nonetheless, let me know your thoughts on that. That's one hell of a story. 17 years or 17 days. Being tortured and electrocuted and fucking tased, chainsaws. Jeez. That's why you never tell anyone how much crypto you have. Rule number 1. Never let anyone know. Now for our feature story of the day. Panama City Mayor says the canal should give Bitcoin paying ships faster access. He also says Bitcoin is not just safe, it's prosperous. Now, for me, this was the highlight of the entire Bitcoin conference. It was Max and Stacy hitting the stage alongside the mayor of Panama City, and they discussed establishing a Bitcoin strategic reserve following in the footsteps of Bukele with Bitcoin Country, only for the country of Panama. And I'm also going to share with you the best mic drop moment, in my opinion, in which I shared, but we're going to start right here. So shout out Max and Stacy. They're the bomb diggity. Panama City Mayor Mizrachi floated the idea allowing ships transiting the Panama Canal to pay in Bitcoin for faster passage, ultimately incentivizing them to do so. Why not? Mizrachi proposed during the panel discussion at the conference that cargo ships could cut the line on waiting for their passage through the key shipping channel by paying in Bitcoin. Quoting him here, "We have a canal. What if you get a perk for paying in Bitcoin? Get your ship to go quicker if you pay in Bitcoin." I mean, then why wouldn't people start using it? And the director of the Bitcoin Beach in El Salvador, also Mike Peterson, was the moderator on the panel. Here's the group right here. And again, this was my favorite segment of the 3-day event. And I'll tell you why I gave Stacy the mic drop highlight of the entire event. And I'll quote her and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Stay tuned. The Panama Canal is a man-made waterway linking the Caribbean and the Pacific Oceans. Let me know if you ever went through there. I did a cruise where actually, I believe it was a princess cruise. We went through the Panama Canal and we had to wait several hours because you got to wait on this long line. So I'm like, shortcut all the other cargo ships. Makes a lot of sense. So allowing cargo ships to save weeks of travel time instead of having to sail all the way around South America plays a key role in the global trade, with around 5% of the global maritime commerce passing through it each and every year. So this is a big money maker. Ships pay to transit through the canal, and I believe the cruise ships have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars just to go through them, from my understanding. Panama earns around $5 billion in revenue from its canal in the last full fiscal year between October and September 2023-2024, according to the Panama Canal site. Nearly 10,000 ships transited through the canal during the time frame, transporting 423 million tons worth of goods. I wonder if Jamie Dimon / JP Morgan's cargo ship they own, which had 20,000 tons of cocaine, went through the Panama Canal. You let me know. The Panama Canal became a controversial topic December 2024. Trump announced plans for the U.S. to reclaim control of the canal, citing concerns over the rising Chinese influence and claiming unfair tolls are imposed on the U.S. ships. Panama City has been at the front foot with the Bitcoin adoption lately, having recently approved a measure permitting the use for crypto for public payments, including taxes, fines, and municipal fees. Bitcoin payments for the Panama Canal are one of the several ideas that the mayor pitched in the recent weeks and discussed on stage with Max and Stacy. Also, he urged Panama legislators to pause work on bills to regulate crypto, instead pushing for a hands-off approach to regulation. He says, don't touch it, don't get near it, don't even look at it. Let it operate, let it function, then decide what it needs. Do you want to restrict it, or you want to promote it? He also claimed that more than $5 billion worth of Bitcoin transactions occur annually in Panama, but said a lot of the adoption has taken place behind closed doors, as many are scared of embracing the preload biddy going up forever, Laura. The mayor's comments come as a Panama declared state of emergency in Bocas del Toro province after the banana company Chiquita laid off 5,000 workers who have been protesting for stronger Social Security measures. Chiquita claims it lost more than $75 million as a result of the strikes. That's a lot of banana money and roadblocks impacting the business. Now, the other headline here, Panama City Mayor, Bitcoin is not just safe, it's prosperous. Also want to touch upon the highlights in this article. Quoting him here, Max Keiser, we did a couple of things early on. One was create the Bitcoin office, which will be directly reporting to the president. And then we also passed a law which will say Bitcoin is money and everything else is an unregistered security, obviously, for Bitcoin country. Now, the access to the Bitcoin Central America to do battle against the globalists has always looked at the regionist backyard. This is intolerable, and this is going to change right now, said the host with them on stage. Imagine yourself in an economic bloc powered by El Salvador, supported by Panama. The rest will come. Then Stacy Herbert reminded everybody about El Salvador's school system, quoting Stacy. El Salvador is the first country in the world to have comprehensive public school financial literacy education program from 7 years old. Powerful. These are little kids learning financial literacy, something they don't teach us in the United States, and it's a damn shame. Max ended the panel by saying the U.S. game theory, right? Because the U.S. wants to buy a lot of the Bitcoin. So if Panama wants to buy a lot of the Bitcoin, then it helps everybody in the U.S. This is the beautiful expression of game theory, perfectly aligned in the protocol that is changing the world that we live in. And on the street level, what Bitcoin does to the population is to go from a spending mentality to a saving mentality. And obviously, I strongly encourage you to watch the interview because, again, it was the highlight of the event. And now I want to share some things, quoting Max from the beginning of the speech. I did this post here on X. He says, I had sex with Satoshi, because they're like, Max, introduce yourself. So this is how Max chose to introduce himself. I had sex with Satoshi, and we gave birth to the first coin. The Genesis block was the result of my semen impregnating the egg of Satoshi. And Scottie Pippen was there, and Scottie Pippen looked on, and before he knew it, there was Michael Saylor, and he was staring right at Scottie. And here's the infamous moment anime version of what I wrote here, the moment Sailor assassinated Scotty P with his infamous death stare, classic moment. And now check this out. This is Stacy delivering the ultimate mic drop highlight at the very last sentence of the speech. Here's what she said. After 3 days of con artists pitching you rappers to give up your Bitcoin so you can get Bitcoin exposure through them. After 3 days of the pitch fest from institutional, giants, governments, etc., corporations, Stacy says the ultimate mic drop moment. Buy Bitcoin, not exposure to Bitcoin. And this clip has been blowing up. So shout out Stacy Herbert for the mic drop moment, of course. And as you already know, Max Keiser wrote, this was last week regarding the yen carry trade and with the Japanese yen collapse and all that. This slow motion train wreck, the pin popping of the global Ponzi scheme has taken 20 years to finally burst. The yen carry trade, look it up, provided liquidity to keep $2 quadrillion worth of derivatives afloat, is now unwinding. Is this the finale of the fourth turning? A global bondpocalypse ushering in depression 2.0. The ultimate safe haven Bitcoin, 2.2 million in play. And if you don't know, now you know. And again, welcome everyone. This is the Q&A segment of the live stream. 2.2 million in play. Even if we only hit 50% of that target, still a sexy, pretty 1.1 million. Hence, I'm rocking the 11 Brunson, New York jersey, holding it down. And again, welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live stream. We're going to end the YouTube transmission and continue uncensored style, exclusive on X and Rumble. So if you're on the YouTube, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. See you on the Rumble, rumble.cryptonewsletters.net. Let's get it.